What's your opinion of chiropractors?
I went to one as just an experiment.
Ooh, do tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
I felt the same. Didn't
Okay.
really do much, but I didn't really have a problem either. I was just kind of like, is this fake? I'll just go look at it.
I've never done.
Do they
I've
just
never
do
done it,
like
so.
the adjustments and like cracking?
Yeah,
and
I
pulling
went
and
down the
popping?
rabbit hole and I got the doctor, quote unquote, doctor to describe
Quack,
all of
quack, quack.
the mechanisms behind it.
Mhm.
It seems like it seems like there might be something there. Like, every great conspiracy, there's a kernel of truth.
Mhm.
It looks like there's something there because you are applying like a physical force to muscles. Basically, it's more about the muscles, honestly, than the spine, because you're trying to adjust the muscle and the fascia around the spine to kind of get it to loosen up and everything. So there's probably something there, but it's probably one of those things where if you want to see real results from chiropractic care, one, you might not. And then two, I think you'd have to go like 2 or 3 times a week for 3 years. Like, it's not like cracked your back, now you're better. I think that's
There
fake.
you go.
But there's a lot of quackery in terms of like, oh, well, let me just like adjust you real quick. You'll be walking perfectly after this.
Little cure
I have,
your
a little,
cancer.
I have a little bit different of a take, but I'm actually curious of Jeff's takes first.
I've only been to the chiropractor once,
Okay.
and they didn't do it. It was like, I guess he could have done. I mean, he was labeled as a chiropractor, but he just did like dry needling, and so like I actually
Okay.
did feel like that helped because it was like a time my back was like super locked up, so that like I definitely felt some relief from that because it was just like, okay, letting the muscles actually relax, and not like the adjustment, like kind of like classic chiropractor. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of with PJ, and I think a lot of the like
It's like
what comes
20%
to
more.
mind is like not necessarily. So if it's like a chiropractor comes in, they're like, oh, well, we're just going to do a quick adjustment of the spine and that'll get your like left big toe back in order and then get you out the door. Let's book
So
you now
I'm
for
like-
one every 2 weeks.
So I'm kind of like halfway between, I think I'm mostly against you guys. Like, what I think is that if a muscle is touching a nerve, then you can be in a bunch of pain.
Oh yeah.
And that a chiropractor can actually move a muscle or fascia, like PJ says, and relieve the nerve, and you might actually instantly feel better, right? What I don't think is that a chiropractor scans you, and I did this actually when I lived with you, Jeff. They scan you, they show your x-ray, and they're like, your neck is too far forward, this part of your spine's
Yeah,
too
I
far
did that
back. And they say, if you come in twice a week, we're going to fix your alignment. I actually, while like with strength training, you're like, hey, if you come in, you add a little bit more weight, it works. I actually don't think, like, if you have scoliosis, a chiropractor snapping your neck, or even if that's an unfair thing to chiropractors. If they're trying to crack your back in a way to straighten it, I don't think it straightens. What I do think is that if a muscle is touching a nerve, they may adjust you in such a way that you have a relief. What I also think is if they needle you, they do cupping, they do vibration, they do TINs, and it makes you, the placebo effect is real, right? Like, so you may feel better. I am pro chiropractor of something really hurts. You either make me believe it's going to feel better, or you actually like remove tension between nerve and muscle, or bone and nerve, and I feel relief. What I don't think is that, hey, if your spine is crooked, going to the chiropractor 2 times a week is going to fix that over time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I
think
think
there's good ones out there.
There's definitely good ones out there.
Definitely.
Like, there's definitely good ones out there. I'm not anti-chiropractor. I'm just like, I've had a lot of clients that go to the chiropractor. They're like, oh, I have a 16-degree curve in my spine. I can't deadlift. I'm like, well, you do have a 16-degree curve in your spine, and he's not going to fix it. It being stronger is probably going to help. Like, you should probably deadlift anyway, that sort of thing.
And everybody's got some kind of curve going on. No one's got a perfect back. There's zero people. Yeah. I always kind of think about it. I kind of use this test of like, this isn't a perfect thing, just kind of but just like a basic test of like, okay, they are actually applying stress to you.
Yes.
And most things that are useful and actually good involve some sort of actual stress happening. They're not just like, here, take this pill, or let me just like wave this magic wand, or I don't know, like whatever. Yeah. But like there is a real stress. And the best light I could paint it in is over 3 to 5 years. It's sort of like braces for like getting on your teeth, you know, like braces on your teeth. It's like a little bit of pressure over a long time can make a move. But I think it's like probably a lot of the benefits are way overstated, but I feel like there's something there. And the other thing is funny about chiropractors is whenever they are talking about like diagnosing you and their approach and their problems with human health, I'm like, I'm with you. Like,
and then the practice of what their application.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, different. Holistic approach. You got to treat the body. You got to treat the cause, not the symptoms. You have to like apply a real stress. Okay. I'm with you. And then they're like, and so we're going to crack your neck. I'm like, you lost me. But I mean, they would say that they're not cracking your spine. They're adjusting your muscles and bone. And sometimes a crack happens. That would be what they would say.
So I have a good friend who's has her PhD in physical therapy. She teaches it.
I love doctors.
And so the logical fallacy from authority. Well, she said like, cause she's like overall, like not really pro chiropractor, but she goes, there are good ones out there. And she's like, how you know they're a good one is if you go to them and they give you a start and you have an end date. If you go see a chiropractor and you got to come back every 2 weeks in perpetuity, then you know that it's probably not a good chiropractor. But if you have like, hey, here's a program we're going to do, it's going to be 16 weeks. After that, you should see some sort of results. That's usually how you know it's a good one. But again, I've never done one before.
I don't go to one, so that really tells you my opinion.
Yeah, so 4 guys who never really been to a chiropractor before. So
no, I went to one for a while. Okay.
Great.
No, I'm not saying I know. I'm just saying there's definitely good ones, and I also think that back pain is super funny and brain triggering.
It's weird.
So like if your back's killing you and you feel like you can't lift and you go to a chiropractor and he does some weird twist and then you're like, hey, I can go to the gym, I'm pro that chiropractor.
And that works.
And I don't know that anything like medically happened, but I think that I think it's an interesting trade. I would probably I would probably send people to chiropractors before that. I would send them to MDs for back pain because I think that there's some value of, hey, I'm going to do this thing to you and convince you that you're fixed. And most of the time, I think that the pain is coming. The pain is real, but it's signaling something in the brain to where you think you can't do anything, which is making the actual problem worse. Yeah. And so a chiropractor will be like, hey, I did this adjustment. You're good. And if you believe that, you may go back to the gym or wherever and do whatever you were going to do. And like, now you're actually on the road to good.
It's a bridge to
Whereas if you go to an MD, they're like, don't lift anything over 50 pounds. And now you're like, I can't come to your baby shower because the doctor said my back, so I think I'm way more pro chiropractor than I am an
just getting a surgery
when it comes to, the surgery is crazy. I mean, like, dude, I don't think Coach Ron will be upset about this. Coach Ron has been with the Strength Coach, one of my first clients, been coaching at the gym for a long time, spondylolisthesis, all this back pain. They've been trying to give him back surgery. He's been fighting it. He goes to a new specialist. They're like, hey man, it's not your back. It's your hip. They're like, there's this thing going on in your hip. Dude. And we think we can inject it. And he's like, wait, what are you talking about? I've been to 5 back doctors. They're like, nope, it's your hip. It's your hip. And with that said, he's going through some hip treatment now. He's getting some shots in his hip, but they're like, we think it's your hip. And because he was just like, I don't want them to cut my spine open.
Yeah.
Like, what can I do to not cut? Yeah, no, I think good call, right? Like, don't have them cut open your spine. And now he's like relieved that like someone's seeing something different, and it may not be right? It may not fix it. And that's where I'm kind of like, even in his case, he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I just think like, even if it's painful, if it's livable, like I don't want someone cutting open my back.
Yeah.
Like
I know a few people
that
had the surgery and they did like
no results.
Man,
Isn't
no
it?
result,
Isn't it?
like almost worse because like
Yes.
now they're just like immobile, like in that part of their body, and it's just like. And there's a guy at work. When I first started there, he was talking about getting back surgery, and I was like, dude, I know I've only known you for like 3 months, but I was like, I avoid that at all costs. Like, do something.
Isn't it like a third? Is like what is like a third of back surgery works, a third of it doesn't do anything, and a third makes it worse. So 2/3 chance it's either the same, and you just expose yourself to surgery risks, or worse.
Yeah, I think it's 75% don't work. It's like
Jeez.
which
That's
is
roughly
the same thing you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's wild.
That's bad odds, dude.
Yeah,
Just go to the chiropractor.
That's why they call it the practice of medicine, right?
yeah.